Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, we could really use your help. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named the Too Opinionated podcast one of its top 100 podcasts. This is a monumental feat for this program. We're a father and son team out of a small town in West Virginia, have been doing this for about 5 years. There's 15 million podcasts out there. About 40,000 of those get to the point that they're listed on IMDb. Out of those 40,000 out of the 15 million, we were ranked number 82. Something that we're just immensely proud of. We're so thankful for our listeners, our watchers, our fans. Thank you so, so much. If you would like to help us out, and we're asking for it, please. It's easy. It's really easy. It's free. If you go to IMDb, that's imdb.com, look up Too Opinionated Podcast, and just take a look at the page. That's all you have to do. I mean, you're welcome to look at the cast, look at the episodes so you can kind of see who's been on the program. Do whatever you want. But even just bringing up the page, imdb.com, Too Opinionated Podcast, bring up the page, look at it. That helps us so much. So please, if you can do anything, we would really appreciate that. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Love to have your subscription there. It's also free. And you can also check out our website, meistercon.com, where you'll find almost 700 episodes, audio and video, available on there. There's also a terrific blog from Brett, and it'll let you know anything that we have going on in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location, anything that we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so, so much. We appreciate you so much. I can't express enough how appreciative we are of all of you. We never expected to do as well as we have, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much. Enjoy that interview. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got influencer Bran FLAKEZZ with me. So welcome, Bran.
Hi, how are you?
I have to say that I'm a pretty big fan of yours. The stuff you put out, the content you put out is hilarious.
Thank you.
Yeah, I always you're my go-to when I need a pick-me-up, when I just need
Okay,
something to, kind of get my mind off of stuff and put a smile on my face. I go check out your stuff. It never fails.
that is the highest form of compliment. I strive to be a comfort creator that you can go to when you're having a bad day and hopefully turn things around.
I love that comfort creator, because
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. You're having kind of a stressful day or something. You need a comfort creator to
Uh,
help you to get through the day.
Never here to judge, just here to make you feel better about your life.
I love that. So let's start this way. Talk a little bit about your journey, what you did growing up, how that turned into being an influencer. Do you have let's say a regular 9 to 5 type of job in addition, or is it
Yeah.
strictly influencer now?
Yeah, I grew up in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I went to college in Philadelphia. Um, I studied fashion, merchandising, and management. So like a business degree with a focus on like retail strategy and fashion in particular.
Yeah.
And I graduated, I got a master's degree and I finished school totally in 2019. And I moved to Philly in 2020, like in the middle of the pandemic. So when I moved there, there wasn't much to do on the weekends because everything was closed. And I started getting into TikTok, but I was like a little bit nervous to actually make TikToks because I was working at a 9 to 5 job and I didn't, want to post anything on professional, but like I really wanted to create stuff and be funny. So in January of 2021, I started making videos and I really, really enjoyed it. And it was just like a fun kind of hobby for me that then I was like, I wonder if I can make this into a full-time gig. And I was like, I'm just going to post every day, try to post twice a day, like really just hope that a lot of people get eyes on my content. And for like 6 months, like I was seeing basically no traction, like would get like 400 views on a video. But then in June of 2021, things started like kind of going a little bit, I guess I would use the term viral, like 200,000 views, 300,000 views.
Yeah.
And I started to see some more followers come in. And by the end of summer 2021, I actually had 90,000 followers, which was great. Um, but then I started to like make some money off of it, but I didn't really know what I was doing because there's no one really
Right.
taught me like, oh, this is what you do. Like, here's how you set a price. Here's how you like ask for money. Here's how you pitch yourself to brands. So it was coming in, but like not consistently and not in a point where I felt comfortable like leaving my full-time job. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to say yes to the things I can, get a little side pocket money, and see what happens. And that's kind of what I did. And as I grew bigger and bigger, I started making connections within the industry, making other friends who, were also doing this, and they were able to share some wisdom with me. Um, and in April of 2022, I quit my full-time job. So I've been doing this now for a year and a half, no longer working a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's exciting. And that's kind of the dream, right? When you get
Yeah.
into social media, that's what you want. You want to be able to support yourself.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about kind of that process, because there's millions of people out there trying to be an influencer, which is a fairly recent phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's a legit job now, but 20 years ago it didn't exist.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was just like, I went into it, I thinking, knowing all of the negative stuff, like knowing it would be hard to deal with hate comments, and, knowing it would be hard to be perceived on the internet, and, kind of having this image that people think of you. They think they know you because they see your videos every day. And I think that's really important to kind of manage your expectations and
Right.
like, like here's the bad things that could come of it. Here's the work that goes into it. Cause that's something that's really funny, this influencer, like you said, it's a newer term, and a lot of people don't get it. They don't think that it's a job, because the average person posts on social media for fun. They're not an influencer, but they're still posting pictures, still posting videos. So like, how are you making a job out of this? Like, how are you getting paid? This is so easy. But when you actually like sit there and like almost put pen to paper and try to think, this is what I'm going to make a video about, and this is how I'm going to post it. I'm going to film it like this. I'm going to edit it like this. It's hard. It's a lot of work. I'll get a text every once in a while from someone out of the blue just being like, yo, I just want to give you so much credit. Like, I tried to make a TikTok last night. It took me 3 hours. Like, that's awesome. But if it's really something you're passionate about, then you can't let yourself fail. You just have to keep on going and, see the vision that can come of it. I mean, there are so many people who have found so much success, and you have to believe in yourself and believe. I think the hardest thing is believing that other people are going to care. I think that's the first thing I always get. It's like, oh, I want to make a video, but I don't think anybody's going to care. You kind of just have to not even think about it. Post for yourself at first and be like, I care. I care about posting this. I care about having this on the internet. And, you have to act like you're famous before you can actually be famous sometimes.
Isn't that what's the term? Fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
My brother, this has been 30 years ago, but when he graduated college, he decided he didn't want to do anything that was in his degree. He was too deep not
Yeah.
to finish it. But so he finished, went to a computer company and lied about his certifications.
Wow.
He didn't have any, knew nothing about computers, and got hired. So
Yep.
then he had to spend the next year or two really catching up and learn how to do that. But now 30 years later, that's a career for him.
It's
So
nuts.
he faked it till he made it.
Yeah, I mean, that's seriously, and social media is a great outlet to do it, because, people always say like, oh, well, you have a master's degree in fashion, you're not using it. But I really, in some regards, I don't ever regret getting that degree. I needed to get my start somehow and pay my bills while this wasn't paying my bills. And my degree was very business based. So a lot of the things like the marketing courses I took and, social media strategy classes I took really did play a big role in how this developed for me.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you kind of figure out the whole thing with the algorithms for the different social medias? Because that's where a lot of people get tied up. You said it took 6 months to kind of get traction. That's actually fairly fast compared to
Yeah.
a lot of people, but people get discouraged, before they get their stuff out there and it gets picked up by that algorithm and really goes viral. Any tips there?
Right. Yeah. I mean, for me, the posting every day, twice a day, really, really got it. I think it really helped me because you're never going to get a straightforward answer about the algorithm from any of these social
Right.
media sites. They don't want to tell you because they don't want you to know. They want you to keep trying to figure things out. They want you to stay active on the platform. That's how they make money. But I'm a very simple math is math rule. If I'm posting a video a day and 10 new people are seeing it,
Right.
I'm getting 20 new a day. If I'm posting two, I'm getting 140 new people a week.
Right.
I The odds are exponentially better the more and more you post that one of those 140 people is going to like the video, comment on the video,
Right.
follow you, share it. So when those videos go even a little bit viral, okay, now I'm getting 3,000 views, 2,000 people saw that video instead of 140. You're increasing your odds. So that is the simplest way I can put it. It's just keep trying. It's like practice makes perfect. And not only was more people seeing my video, but I was getting more comfortable behind the camera. You
Right.
know, I heard this the other day. It's like when you think of the first time you did something that you're really good at now, you laugh about it. You're like, oh my God, I was so bad at that. But you get better over time. I'll like see a video that I posted in like, honestly, even a year ago. And I'm like, oh my God, the quality is bad. Why was I talking like that? Like, you have to cringe at yourself. But it got me to the place where I am now, where I like post a video. I'm like, oh, this is really good. Like, I know this is going to do well.
Yeah. Yeah. I know one thing that's helped us on the podcast is right from the beginning, we didn't try to hide any of the warts. We were pretty rough to
Yeah.
start. The quality was pretty poor because we were learning, but we didn't try to hide that. We were just very
Right.
upfront about it. And I think that helped us to gain an audience where they kind of forgave us some of those mistakes and maybe
Definitely.
connected with us a little bit
Yeah.
overall.
And at the end of the day, your mistakes are relatable. And I think that's what's so great about TikTok is like, it's not YouTube. You don't have to have a $6,000 camera. You don't have to have a whole crew of people editing. Like, it doesn't need to be overly produced at all. People honestly love the authentic, just selfie camera speaking what's on your mind. That's the
Yeah.
content that's the best for me.
Have you run into any situations where the algorithm changed and you had to adjust what you were putting out there?
So it's hard because, like I said earlier, they don't ever really tell you, but I've definitely noticed shifts. Like, I'll have a week where my content's on fire, like everything's
Right.
getting hundreds of thousands of views. And then I'll have a week where it's like I'm crawling to get a video that has 20,000 views. It's so up and down. And I would say that's probably the most difficult part, especially with relying mostly on TikTok for like my career. It's the platform, it's for anybody, like really anybody. And that's why people love it because you can have 2 followers and go mega viral if you post something really funny. It's a level playing field. Like, your followers don't matter. It's really just about the content you're producing. So sometimes that can affect your dopamine levels when you're like really expecting this video to be a grand slam and it's like, oh my God, I got 3 comments on this. And then it's so random where something that you filmed for 2 seconds and you're like, I'll just post this, whatever. It's not a good video. Gets like 6 million views, and you're like, what the hell? So it is nuts. And that it sometimes it can feel unrewarding. Like, just because you like work so hard on the video that you like love and you think it's so good and everyone's gonna really resonate with it, and the algorithm might not be picking it up, or maybe it just didn't hit. But I do think the algorithm switches anytime there's a new feature on the app, like right now it's the TikTok shop where it's like you can sell products through TikTok. Those videos are on fire because the app is boosting that because they're obviously going to make some revenue off of that as well. So when there's new features, I always try to test them out, use them, and see if it can spark. I try to go live on TikTok every once in a while. But at the end of the day, the number one strategy, you just have to be yourself. And just that's what's really going to resonate with the audience all the time is if they feel like there's someone on the other end that's being authentic and funny and true to who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that I started following you because you're very upfront about the
Yeah.
whole process, which most influencers are not. You know, you talk a little bit about the
Yeah.
money that you've been able to make, about the process, and I think that's really important because you have so many people trying to emulate that, and it's
Yeah.
hard to emulate if you don't know all the details.
I think there's room for everyone at the table, and I think this industry is just at its start, and it's going to continue to grow. I think in 10 years, you're going to have people who are going to college that are studying maybe to be an influencer. Maybe they want to be an influencer's videographer. Maybe they want to be an influencer's editor. I think, some of the biggest influencers already have a whole team of people surrounding them, from publicists to editors to makeup artists to hair artists to stylists. There You can put a lot of people on your team if you're growing, and your team can help you grow even more. So I think that this is just the beginning.
You've had some celebrity fans come on the
Oh yeah.
lives. Yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Selena Gomez follows me. That was major. That was pretty early on too. I had like 85,000 followers when she gave
Mhm.
me the follow, and she was on my TikTok live one day. She went live with me. That was super crazy, and I got to meet her this past year in March, which was a totally full circle moment. Um, and then I make videos about some people that I love, and they've really resonated. I was a big Jersey Shore fan growing up. I just got to meet the cast last week. Sammy Sweetheart was my favorite Jersey Shore person. She followed me, saw my videos. I got to meet her in December. So that's been really cool. My favorite DJ is Fisher. He's seen my videos. I've been invited to his shows. So it is really cool when you talk about like what you love on social media, um, how far it can take you. My favorite show is Survivor. They just sent me like a bunch of merch for their new season coming up this week. So that part's really amazing.
That's pretty great. Yeah, I'm a big Survivor fan
Yeah.
as well. I was excited that it was coming back. I was worried with the strikes we had going on, it might get pushed out,
Yeah.
but it looks like we're getting it this month.
We're getting it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty great. Um, so speaking of reality shows, you got a chance to participate in one. Talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do reality TV. I haven't applied really for Survivor or Big Brother because Survivor, I wouldn't survive. And
Same.
Big Brother is so long. And I just feel like recently the fandom has gotten like extremely, extremely toxic. So I don't even know if it's a show I'd want to be on. Still love it as a viewer.
What's the part about Survivor? What would trip you up? Like I know what mine is. What's yours?
Twofold. One, the actual like living on an island aspect and not eating. But two, as we saw in the show that I did, I'm terrible in competitions. So that first phase of the show where you're on a tribe, they would be like, "We got to get Brandon out of here. He's gonna make us lose every single challenge," which I would. So if I could get on and if I could make it to the merge, then I might be able to take the whole thing with me. But I don't think I would get past those first like 6 episodes. Like I would really struggle
Well,
with that.
that's the hard part because it's more you're split into teams. So it's
Yes.
not like you're just losing individually. You
No,
could be costing your team.
exactly. And that would give me so much paranoia in itself. But yeah, so the show I did was really nice because it was only 5 days, so it wasn't a huge commitment. And it was hosted by two big influencers, Brianna Chicken Fry and Josh Richards. So it was a really cool like opportunity for me. I always wanted to do reality TV, and it was like the perfect like practice run, if you will, because just 5 days. It aired on YouTube, so not on a network. So it was just very like lighthearted. And I ended up getting second place.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was called Project Verified, if I remember
Yep.
correctly. So what was some of the what was the reality of it? What kind of things did you have to do on the show?
Right. So we didn't know anything about the show because it was season one. And they didn't really give us any details. They didn't even tell us the name. They just told us there's going to be 10 of you, be available from March 5th to March 10th. And you're all we can tell you is that you're competing for a cash prize.
Yeah,
So I got there, went in there blind, but I was just like, I'm in an area of my life where I try to say yes to every opportunity.
sure.
Um, but we got in there. We're not even inside the house yet. We're on the driveway. We already have to vote somebody off. And I was like, oh, this is like going to be like really intense. But luckily, because I'm a big fan of Survivor and Big Brother, I felt a little bit prepared for like the strategic backstabbing, betrayal, plotting type of game that I don't think a lot of the other people realized that we were going to have to play. I mean, we kind of all thought it might be like that, but we also all were hoping it was going to be more like a Jersey Shore where we're partying in a house for 5 days. So yeah, every day we had a competition, and every day we also voted off one person. Sometimes we would vote off two people. So the days were like long and they were nerve wracking. You know, it's interesting watching on TV these shows, but you don't see who's behind the camera. So you see like a group of people, but what you don't realize on the other side is like a group of 60, probably for shows like Survivor, like hundreds
Right.
of mic, sound, there's medics on standby, there's people, there's directors, there's people telling you what to do. Sometimes you have to refilm something if someone didn't say the right thing in terms of like the hosts, they mess up a line or they didn't explain a competition correctly. So they're long days. Like we would film for like 15 hours and you're just burnt out. You don't have your phone on you, which was crazy because I'm an influencer who's used to being glued to my phone. So it was a very, very once in a lifetime experience. I'm so glad I had it.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing, and good for you for finding the non having to sleep out, in the open type of
Yes.
reality show.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Have you ever considered going into, say, acting?
I wouldn't say no. I'm trying to make more videos because that's when I first started out. I did a lot of improv and a lot of skits, and they were really funny and they were really fun for me to make. And I'm actually trying to get back into that.
Mhm.
If someone ever were to reach out to me and was like, "We have a role that we think you'd be great for. Would you want to try for it?" Like I said, I'm always open to new opportunities. I don't really know how I would kind of get into that now because I didn't go to acting school. I never did theater or anything like that, but you never know. That's what the cool thing about this career. It's like people get excited when they see that you have like hundreds of thousands of followers. They can see that you have amassed some kind of fandom and that people are passionate about you. So it really can give you a leg up in certain areas. So never say never.
I actually think you would be really good at it. Just watching your videos, the type of personality that you have, it's very open. It's don't take yourself too serious. You're out
Yeah.
there just trying to show everybody kind of a good time with that, and I think that would kind of lend itself to acting if you chose to go into that.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So Philadelphia Magazine named you an influencer of the year.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Is that something you had to apply for, or did somebody reach out to you?
No, this was the first year they did influencer awards through Philadelphia Magazine. They had nominations, like you could kind of submit people that you follow for certain categories, like lifestyle, favorite beauty influencer. Um, there was only one award that the public got to vote for, and that was People's Choice. So when I heard about the awards, I threw on there to my followers, like, hey, if you guys want to nominate me for People's Choice, like, would love that. And then I got an email one day that I actually wasn't nominated for People's Choice. I was nominated for Influence of the Year, which was only me and two other people. So only three people got that nomination. And I was blown away. And I was even more blown away when I won. So that was crazy. I grew up here. I've lived in Philadelphia my whole life, so it's really cool to include Philly in my content and kind of be that influencer that lives in Philly rather than the stereotypical, influencer and creators that live in New York or LA. So to kind of like get that win for me and for my city it meant everything.
How has your family and your friends reacted to your kind of increasing fame?
Yeah, I think my friends are definitely more impacted by it because they're the ones that are kind of going out with me on the weekends and seeing people more in public spaces. And kind of they're sometimes in my content. Um, and they love it. Everyone for pretty much the most part has been super supportive, and they know that my life has changed, but I myself haven't changed. And I think that's really important to like always maintain who you are as a person, no matter the ups and downs that you go through. So that's been really fun. And I mean, my friends get a lot of benefits. They get to come with me to do some crazy stuff. Sometimes we'll get sent things that I can share with them. So they definitely love it. My family, I've always tried to kind of protect because they live in the suburbs. They don't live in the city. They have just the normal life, and we're super supportive, and they love that I'm making money off of it, and that I was able to quit my job. And they were actually very integral to that decision, giving me their support to kind of get off my health insurance and lose all my benefits, and pursue being my own boss. So I really wanted their support in that, which they gave me, which is amazing. But I typically only see them for like holidays and random things that I go home to the suburbs for. So luckily, like their lives haven't been impacted significantly by the craziness.
I always tell people that, when we started the podcast, I tried to get my parents to watch. I mean, I tried, but they always told me, we talk to you every day.
Yeah.
What do we need to watch you on a podcast? We talk to you every day with that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way it went.
Yeah. My family will watch videos and they watch the reality show and they're always there to support. But I kind of told them when I first started, I was like, don't watch my stuff. I was like, the stuff I post on the internet's a little unhinged. You don't need to be seeing all the things that I do on the weekends. This is not for you guys. This
You haven't had someone like, I'm going to check him out, and then you get a phone call like, I don't know.
When I was first starting off, I would have some issues with some people I was dating, and they would be like, "What is this? What are these videos? Are you talking about me in this?" So that was kind of like that first year. I had to like really balance that. I definitely pissed a few people off that first year.
Was there a reason you chose TikTok to begin with, or is that, does that just fit kind of your style, or how come you chose it over the other platforms?
Kind of what I mentioned earlier, I knew TikTok was more of an even playing field, and there was people that were going viral and being able to amass a bunch of followers quickly. It's also still is a newer app that was just the possibilities were endless. I always thought I was funnier over video. Instagram at that time was very still like curated, like the influencers that you would follow on Instagram were just uploading really like glossy fashion images. Right. I'm no beauty influencer, I'm no fashion influencer. I was like, this is way more up my speed. Instagram Reels didn't even exist when I first started TikTok. So it just made sense. But once Instagram kind of changed to compete with TikTok and they made Reels, I've been repurposing my content onto Instagram, and that's really helped. I started doing that in March, and now I'm almost at 100,000 followers on there, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. Any advice for someone, say, that's trying to establish themselves on TikTok?
Just do it. Start posting. There's so many excuses you can make. I don't have the right equipment yet. I don't know what I want to post about yet. Like I said, no one does in the beginning. Just start throwing things at the wall. If you wait until it's perfect, you're going to wait your whole life and never start. So just try. And don't get discouraged. Don't have crazy expectations. Go into it posting for yourself, not with the expectation that it's going to hit 1 million views and you're going to get famous overnight. That doesn't happen for most of us. It didn't happen for me. Hard work needs to happen sometimes before you can start earning the big bucks and all the great amazing things that come with this career. So just try it and don't let yourself get defeated, and grow and learn. Trial and error is really key. There's videos that I made where I was like, this is amazing, I'm going to talk about this more because the followers love it. And then there's other videos where I post, I'm like, okay, no one cared about that, I want to make something different. So just start posting and see what happens.
Yeah. Where do your ideas come from?
That is a great question. I've been told that my content seems like it's very stream of consciousness. Like I have a thought and I say it, and that truly is what happens. Like I'll have something come to my mind and I write it down if I can't film it in that exact moment. But I get inspiration from other creators as well. When I get that kind of writer's block, I'll just scroll on TikTok and see what other people are talking about. It's always important to send like kind of in trends and current events. So if there's something going on, whether it's a big TV show or a big pop culture moment, I try to, lean in on the conversation as well. And I definitely would say like talking to other people in here, I think my content, it's supposed to be very relatable. That's what I strive to be. So in order to be relatable, you have to talk to other people, hear other people's perspectives, hear what they're going through, and be able to kind of develop something and create content that's going to resonate not just with you, but with them. So I think it's always just putting myself in different situations to talk to different people from different walks of life, and try to make something that I think everyone can be able to respond to, and hopefully at the end of the day, make people laugh and smile and distract them from other things that might be going on in their personal life.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you set aside like dedicated time to kind of do the brainstorming, or is it just you write it down as it comes?
When I first started, I did. I was, very focused on filming 2 videos a day, having a certain part of the day where I was going to film. Now that I'm like kind of grown a lot and I'm able to rely on this more than I ever was before, I sometimes will content block, what we call it, which is I'll film a few videos in a day and plan on posting them throughout the week. But normally I just like every day I experience something different that I'm confident is going to give me a thought or an idea to produce a video about. And I just do it like that. And there's days where sometimes I'm like, I do not have anything to post about, but I don't post. And I'm at that point now because I have 500,000 followers where I can, like yesterday, I didn't post any videos and it was fine. Sometimes I think it forces people to watch your old videos and, kind of
Yeah.
lets people, miss you a little bit and get excited for when you post again.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. And I think there's a lot of truth to
Yeah.
that. Early on, I think you have to have that
Yeah.
almost posting daily every day, kind of get the following.
Yes.
But once you get there, you can slow it down a little bit. And yeah, I
100%.
think it makes people anticipate.
Yeah, and it's easier to post early on because you're still trying to figure out the groove of things, of what you want to talk about, what your followers seem to love. So in the beginning, it's kind of like a honeymoon phase where you can literally post whatever you want because you're not expecting anything to
Right.
like blow it out of the water. You're just testing things. Now it's like, okay, I can be more strategic and more streamlined in what I'm going to post.
Do you ever run into those situations where you have to think, do I actually want to share this side of myself, in public, or is it, or are
Yeah.
you just pretty open all the time?
Overall, I'm definitely an oversharer and I'm pretty open for the most part, but there's definitely certain things that I won't talk about. Like I said earlier, I try to keep my family private. Even
Yeah.
for the most part, I'll post about my relationship here and there, but I never want my content to become like a couple's account or oversaturated with that. My partner, he's in med school, so I never want to like mess up his career. So there's definitely some things where, and I think that's the hardest part, is finding that boundary between like what's content and what's too personal to post. But for the most part, I think I'm able to connect really deeply with my audience because I'm willing to go a little bit further than some other
Yep.
creators will. But there's always a line there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Early on, when you were first working to establish yourself, did you ever run into a period where you almost gave it up?
Yes. I switched jobs in the middle
Yep.
of all of this happening, where I was working in merchandising for a company who found out that I was doing TikToks. And instead of firing me, they actually hired me to do a different role at their company, which was to be their social media strategist. At that point, I was at probably like 170,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I was starting to like notice the mental health effects. It was, the cold. It was January of 2022. I wasn't really in a good place mentally. Like I said, I was kind of starting to feel the negative side effects of everything. I was feeling really burnout. And I was like, let me just switch gears. And since I love creating videos and doing all of that, I'll do it for a corporation instead. I won't have to worry about my personal account. I'll create TikToks for this brand that I'm working for. Um, and I actually hated that so much more. Like, oh my gosh, I have to follow rules. I have to convince people on our team of letting me, like, how to let them I had to convince people to let me post things. I had to go through legal like procedures and be like, oh, we can't talk about this. Or people would come to me with their ideas at the company and be like, I want you to talk about this on TikTok. I want you to help me. And I was like, this is bullshit. I don't like that. I was like, it made me really love what I was doing, which was like working for myself and being the boss and me getting to determine what we were going to film, what we were going to edit, what we were going to post. Like, I didn't want to follow anybody's calendar. And I did that for about 3.5, 4 months. And it was a pretty miserable 4 months, probably the worst time of my life, honestly. And I was like, nope, I quit. I'm giving myself the summer off, quote unquote, aka I'm going to give myself the summer to just focus on my content and see if I can develop something. Best choice I ever made double my salary at that job within the 4 months that I first started off doing it, hired an agent, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where did you come up with brand flakes?
Everyone asked me this. That was actually my Twitter username in high school. When everybody made a Twitter in high school, it was like 2011. Everybody in our area for some reason made their username a play on words of their name. Um, and my first username was actually it's Brandick. And then when I was applying for colleges, I was like, that's not really appropriate. Let me switch this to something in case they find me. I was like, how about Bran Flakes, the cereal? And weirdly enough, when I first got to college, everyone was following each other on Twitter, your new college besties. And then people started calling me that. And I was like, I don't really know why they're calling me this. This is just like my funny Twitter username, but whatever. I made it my Instagram username too. And then it kind of just blew up. Everyone in college was calling me Bran Flakes, B Flakes, Flakes. And I kind of loved it. I was like, this is really cool to have like a really solid nickname that like people like, I don't know. I just really liked the sound of it. And now it's literally who I am, Bran Flakes.
How have you avoided not having a sponsorship with like Kellogg's or Post?
You know what? That is a great question that I've never even thought about. But if they're listening to this, my email and my DMs are open.
Are
They
you
are.
reaching out to potential sponsors, or is most of that coming to you?
Pretty much I would say 95% is coming to me.
Yeah.
If there's a brands that I really, really want to work with in some capacity, I'll have my team send an email over to them with like my media rates, my demographics, my insights. And sometimes that works. And I'm never hesitant to shoot my shot either. I'll always DM, some people that I want to work with. And the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
The answer is always going to be no if you never ask.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Although sometimes it's just no answer.
Yeah. Which is, you know what, it's fine too. Maybe I've had companies who haven't answered me for months. And then I can tell that they see one of my videos and they get an idea to reach out to me. And when they do that, they see that I already reached out to them and they're like, oh, sorry, we never answered this. We'd love to work with you. So that's happened to me a few times. So always, kind of send that message and put out into the universe that something good will come back your way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Brandon, thank you so much. This has been awesome. I knew it would be. I'm such a fan of yours. It was. I loved when your group sent that over because I was like, I know who that is.
Yes, good. I'm glad. I'm glad my videos are able to help you. That's literally what I created my platform for. And this was so amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. So a couple little things before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Anything else that you're currently working on that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
I just filmed my first man on the street type of interview series. That should be coming out within a few weeks, and I might be filming my second one with a huge national brand that we've all heard of. So some fun things with that to come down the pipeline. I've been saying this on so many podcasts, but I promise it's happening. I am in the works of developing my own podcast as well. And I'm going to keep mentioning it because it is giving me the drive and the motivation to prove that I will do it. There's just been a lot going on, but I promise a podcast will be coming your way soon too.
Yeah. You've got the voice for it and the content. I think you would do really well with the podcast. Yeah, you have to let me know if you get that up, or if you need anything that we can help with. Sometimes when we first started, we had to reach out to podcasters to see what platforms they were using, that type of thing. So anything we can do to help, let me know.
I will probably take you up on that. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so the last thing before we wrap up,
okay,
go through kind of where we can find you on all the social media.
Yeah, just Instagram and TikTok. It's Bran BRAN _ Flakes FLAKEZZ. That's on Instagram. Same thing on TikTok, Bran, but 2 underscores Flakes, FLAKEZZ on TikTok.
Terrific. Well, you have to come back. Let's do this again. Maybe when the podcast is ready to come out, come back and let's talk about that.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. Of course.
Yeah, hang on one second. All right, so that was influencer Bran Flakez, Brandon Edleman. Just terrific. I'm so impressed with what he's been able to accomplish in a fairly short period of time. You know, we've worked, Brett and I, for a little over 5 years to get this podcast to the point that it's got some eyes on it, and we're really proud of that. But it took 5 years. You know, he's gotten to where he is in about a year and a half. That's amazing. And he's so talented and just really amusing, funny, hilarious. You know, so if you haven't seen some of Bran Flakez on social media, definitely check him out. He's on TikTok and Instagram. Just absolutely terrific. Hope you enjoyed that again this week. Really appreciate that you keep coming back to us. We definitely don't take you for granted. If you're finding us for the first time and you'd like to support us, we would love to have that support. And it's easy to do. It's free. We're not asking for any money. We're just asking for subscriptions. So if you prefer to watch, our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. If you could just hit that subscribe button, really helps us out. If you prefer to listen, just wherever you listen to your podcast at or whatever platform you're on, just subscribe there. That'll help us as well. You can find, today we put out episode number 661. You can find all those audio and video on our website, meistercon.com. So definitely check us out there as well. If you're an IMDb fan, IMDb is the entertainment database. So anything you want to know about what's going on in entertainment, you can go to imdb.com and find out. They recently named us one of their top 100 podcasts. 15 million podcasts out there. So being listed in the top 100 was a pretty big deal for us. That's an even easier way for you to support us. If you can go to imdb.com, look up the Too Opinionated podcast, and just take a look at the page. That's all you have to do. It's free. That traffic on the page really helps us out. And you can also see, you know, the close to 700 guests that we've had on the show. I'm sure you'll find someone you love or someone that you will love. So please check us out there, imdb.com, Too Opinionated podcast. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm once again here to ask for your support. It's been a big year for the Too Opinionated podcast. Back in February, we got to live out a dream, moderate for William Shatner here in our hometown. In May, we passed 100,000 downloads on our YouTube channel, and we followed that up in June with 50,000 downloads on the audio side. We recently posted our 600th episode, which is pretty good volume for just a father and son operation. You know, not too many podcasts can keep that volume up. We've been doing this now for 4.5 years, 600 plus episodes. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which is a really big deal for us because we've always gotten the views, but have struggled to get people to subscribe. So that 1,000 was a big deal for us. And best of all, we were recently named one of the top podcasts on IMDb, which is the entertainment database. You know, those that are ahead of us, we came in at number 82. Those that are ahead of us are bigger companies like Disney, mostly Marvel, and Joe Rogan, that type of podcast. So for us, being just a small West Virginia father and son podcast, to be in the top 100 out of 15 million, it's a pretty big deal for us. So thank you for everything you've done for us so far. Got a couple little ways, though, that you can help us, and they're free, and they're really easy. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, please go to YouTube. It's under MeisterCon Pod. Just hit subscribe. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Really helps us a ton. And maybe even more important, If you could go to imdb.com, look up the Too Opinionated podcast, and just look around the page. Just having that traffic on the page really helps us out. So that's a couple easy ways that you can support us, even if you're not listening or watching all of the time. And we want you to listen and watch, because I think that our guest list, I would put up against anybody, any other show, podcast, anybody out there. I think our guest list holds up. So please check us out. You probably will find somebody that you like, or maybe somebody that you didn't know you liked, but kind of discovered them on there. There's tons of that. If you're into music, we have that too. If you like books, we've got authors on there. If you're more into what goes on behind the scenes in the entertainment world, we've got producers, directors, video artists, anything you can think of that happens behind the scenes, we've had them on the show. So definitely check us out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.